feel-good breakfast show.
Just when you thought all hope was lost, a hero emerges from the dust and the darkness. A lot of darkness to reveal the truth. Yes, it's that time of the week. It's a Monday. It's a jumping off point. Another short week, yes, but still lots to cover. We aren't short on those big news stories here and abroad. So, of course, we had to invite in our news editor-in-chief, Roy Simpson. I hope that title doesn't come with a higher salary because I keep giving it to you. So,
multiply zero by anything in your home. So it's all good.
Exactly. I love it. Well, as always, we'd love to know what this story means to you. Whatever one of these threads affects you the most, we'd love to hear how that happens. WhatsApp us on 063-408-8863. How does the news affect you? But first up, what's in the news?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay, let's start off. Something that affects all of us. It's very difficult for me to... I mean, this is worse than a 6-1 loss. Load shedding. Sorry, apologies. That was spur of the moment.
Was that a missed opportunity to advertise South Africa tourism?
It really was, eh? We could have seen a 5% dip in our tourism, literally, overnight.
That would have been a problem. Okay, but so I hear about an 18-month plan. And I mean, just a little earlier, I report in the news that there's no guarantees that load shedding can be wrapped up at the end of this year, which means there's an 18-month plan.
Yes.
So what has the good doctor said about the 18-month plan? What does it look like? Have any of the elements of said strategy been made available to you?
Yes, so there was a press conference last week.
Okay.
The good doctor in this case, of course, is our Minister of Electricity.
Yes, Dr.
Ramokgopa. And he laid out as much of his plan as he was comfortable with, as much as he was allowed to, given that he'd pre-presented it to the ANC, to the National Executive Committee and the National Working Committee. And we'll park that thought, because that's an important thought.
Okay.
The fact that he goes to the political party before he goes to government as such, or the people. So we park that thought, we come back to that in a second, because what he laid out was... wasn't the world's most inspiring plan, but he certainly, for the, as you suggest, says, well, there's going to be load shedding till the end of the year.
Okay.
In fact, one of the parts of the plan is to redirect and rejig exactly how load shedding happens, so that things like your communication systems, your cell phone towers, police stations continue to get electricity. But what that...
Ports, possibly.
Correct. So what that means, though, for everybody else is they've got to absorb more of the load shedding. And that means a probability of stage 8 throughout winter for anything up to 4 or 5 months. And he said that is, outright said, that's a possibility. And that's coming to us quite soon. The mitigating plans in his sort of overarching vision for what we're going to do is to spend money on diesel, lots and lots of money on diesel. 30 billion rands worth of diesel is what he plans to burn over the course of winter, remembering that that'll keep us within that stage 8 umbrella. So that's a fairly frightening thought. And the rest also frightening in their own ways. So it's things like limiting the amount of sabotage happening at power stations.
It's not going to be good, but it's going to be less bad, is what I'm saying.
Kind of thing. But where we're at the moment, if those get turned into these like high security prisons where you've got to be tagged everywhere you move, then so be it. If that's what it takes to keep the lights switched on, to get people
that's how they run a mine, that's how they, I mean, if you need to do it, you need to do it.
So that's the job. So if that's required, then that's fine. The other thing is then to extend the life of the existing coal plants. And this is where we start hitting in challenges. So challenge number 1 is the internal politics within the ANC, because this is about Gwede Mantashe's power,
it's
about Pravin Gordhan's power, and Ramaphosa, the president, Cyril Ramaphosa, seems unable to take away power from particularly Gwede Mantashe, who it's widely rumored basically went to him and went, okay, fire me then. Fire me, go on, I double dare you. Which would have put the ANC president up against the ANC chair. So very uncomfortable internal party politics. So that's challenge 1. And then challenge 2 to this whole plan is if we extend the life of those coal power plants, all our commitments at COP26 are out the window. That $8.5 billion that was pledged to help us transition to green energy, out the window. And along with, you know, when Putin comes and we've got to deal with, is our signature on the Rome Statute worth anything? Is our signature on the COP26 agreement worth anything? we can't get a reputation for not honoring our international agreements.
Yeah, and this is pretty much one of the few areas where we do have some clout and to be seen as a gateway into Africa, and there is an opportunity in that. It doesn't really feel like anything's changed, though, within this argument. It just seems to have kind of highlighted the challenges that we have on a different level. How does this make you feel? Are you a business owner? Does this terrify you? Are you going to have more power off than power on? What does that mean for your household, for your business? What are the real issues here as they affect you when we think about power or the lack thereof? 0634088863. Let's add some positive power to this discussion, please, and take a look at something absolutely amazing.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show. Expresso here at S3, and we're back on the couch with some major news stories and a major news editor, Roy Simpson, taking us through all of those. And we started off with, of course, load shedding, the only place we do start when it comes to South African headlines. But we weren't done just yet, Graham. There was something else lingering, a peripheral story that we had to tap
I'm going to use my analogy. I've got to do it where the tar hits the, or the tire hits the tar. Okay, with the electricity thing, is because I think all of us are looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
But now we've been told, okay, go do it. Find the solutions yourself. People have, a little municipality found its own solution, set up its own load shedding schedule, which I think all of us thought was quite cute. Not so much Eskom. So action was taken. Where do we stand in this little story? Because I think we're going to see kind of our solutions to the problem outstretching the legislation and where the situation's at quite a lot through this journey. So where are we at with this particular story?
This particular story, so this is in Frankfurt in the Free State.
Yeah.
It's the Mafube municipality. We chatted about it a while ago, where there's this company, a private company that runs a solar farm, a rural maintenance. It's a Free State rural maintenance. They've been providing electricity whenever there's load shedding during sunshine hours. They've just pushed the electricity in, and there hasn't been load shedding in that little town. And in fact, for a little trial period, they were controlling the load shedding schedule. And it's that aspect that Eskom went to court on. And we were all really excited because we thought this is going to be definitive.
This is going to provide the roadmap.
Yes.
Absolutely. Here's the benchmark. This is how we're going to operate in the future. What happened, actually, is that these guys from rural maintenance said, it's all good. The municipality's on our side. They're going to drop an affidavit off, and it's going to be a collective thing, us as a community against
we're on your
Eskom.
side. On your side.
Crickets. That affidavit never arrived.
Oh.
So the Mafube municipality is, and Eskom said in this court case that the issue here is about the grid. And they pointed to, back in 2003, there was an actual blackout across the United States and Canada. Pictures of New York in the dark, 50 million people without electricity. And what they pointed out was the operator had 2 hours to know this. They didn't implement load shedding, and the entire grid went down in 3 minutes. So this is the fear. This is what they're putting out as the problem. And so they have these documents to protect us from that, one of which is the NRS 048-9 of 2019. 154 pages.
Which is different to the 0 day.
It is. It's only part of the bigger thing. And it's 154 pages of instructions on how to run load shedding.
Okay.
And I started reading it. And in there is one clause, 10.3, which says that it's the municipality, the licensed distributor, is responsible for operating and for adhering to the instructions given by the system operator. And of course, this private company isn't the licensed distributor. So without the municipality on their side, they're just straight out in breach of the code.
And the municipality's like, nah.
Yes. So it's over. They can't do this, but they can't do it because the municipality didn't make it part of their thing.
Yeah.
It's an ANC municipality, so there are questions being raised around whether there's politicking, whether Gwede Mantashe is involved, but the point being, kind of on a technicality, this got squashed in court, so we haven't learned anything new, we haven't set any precedent.
Don't give up just yet. Don't give up just yet. Interesting, man.
I'm going to change lanes,
please,
if you don't mind, because there was a very interesting story. Transport Secretary Pete Buttigieg wants to spend $20 million in developing female crash test dummies. And I thought just to change lanes completely because load shedding was kind of dampening the
But
mood
they can't
here.
change lanes. When you're a crash test dummy, you go straight. You
Oh,
can't.
that's also very true. Okay, let's stay on the
unfortunately-
same lane, but let's head to a wall here, if it is that such a thing.
Yeah.
$20 million into female crash test dummies.
Yes.
What is in this particular headline? What is this saying?
I mean, it sounds like gender equality gone mad.
Yes.
But actually, it's based on a University of Virginia set of research that they published initially, way back in the early 2000s,
Okay.
where they said women are 50% more likely to get injured in cars. In 2019, they published a follow-on to that, which said that women are 18% more likely to die in a worst-case scenario where you're wearing a seatbelt and it's a head-on collision.
Okay.
18% more likely to die than men, and 73% more likely to get injured, like seriously injured. And those are huge statistics. So why?
It
That's the
almost
look on
makes
your
it
face.
criminal to have not addressed this earlier.
Absolutely. So the question is, what are you addressing? Why is there this anomaly? Why is there the difference? And the one thing that researchers are saying is that you and I think of a crash test dummy as like a shop mannequin.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're these really
scientific
advanced scientific things. They take
of
about 10
technology,
years to
yeah.
develop.
Yeah.
Because they measure bone impact internally. And women's physiology is different. They pack the fat on the thighs, whereas men pack it on the stomach.
belly, yeah.
The whole structure is different. And the only
Completely,
female
yeah.
dummies they've used up until now, crash test dummies, are based on the shortest females from the 1970s.
Oh, okay.
So the theory is change what you're testing the safety equipment on, and you'll produce different results. So since 2009, on average, there's 50% less death in car crashes because of the advances in safety technology. But there's this one anomaly in there that could be the reason why women are getting the short end of the stick when it comes to safety in cars.
Buddy, I just hope you haven't just broken the internet, man. I have a feeling you've just started something. Whose fault is it, though, Roy? I want to know whose fault is it. That is crazy. We're going to continue to track international headlines, sort of in this space with a story that blew our mind and changed the way, possibly, we're going to look at our bodies in the most radical way. Stick around.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back to Feel Good Breakfast Show. This is Expresso on S3. Now, this is part 3 of our chat through some news stories. We've been through load shedding. We've been through a municipality's autonomy on load shedding. We've been through crash test dummies, now female. And now let's get to the real pointy end of our chat with Roy Simpson. And that is around a massive story that I can't even articulate without saying, really?
Really? I'm
this the
terrified
thing?
to approach this one because it's normally we've got these lines where, because we wake up with everybody's news, and it's even more so for you. So you've got 3 hours of everybody else's
Yeah.
problems before you even touch your own. But every now and then you hit a story that speaks to the human condition, that speaks to where the world humanity is right now, an external womb. What?
Absolutely.
That's
so,
why.
So we're looking at this concept of essentially gestating babies outside of the human body. So these external wombs which would be created. I'm not entirely sure why this has become such a big story right now. There was a book released just over a month ago called Eve. Claire Horn is the author of that
Okay.
book. And in that, she started working on the assumption that this is the future, that this thing is going to happen. And she started looking at the ethics of it. For example, how this will impact
Who
on...
can a man wear an external womb is what everybody is
It's
saying.
not a wearing thing.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
so
like, where is this
So
line?
your reference point now is YouTube. It's a video by a guy called Hashem Al-Khaili.
Okay.
And he put this concept video together. This is his imagination of what this would look like. And he called it Ecto Life. This is the company. And in this, there are these factories processing up to 30,000 babies at a time in these very futuristic-looking pods. And those pods would have amniotic fluid in them, the temperature would be controlled, the nutrients going in there.
Wait, hold on. I've
and
seen
the
this before.
And the baby would then grow in that external womb, in that pod.
I've seen this before.
We've seen it on Krypton. We've seen it in the Matrix.
Exactly.
The Matrix is what I'm thinking
Alien.
about right now. But okay, beyond that, so in terms of this external, I'm thinking about, as a father saying, right, let's do this. and you do that externally, the connection to the child.
There are developmental phases that happen in utero that have nothing to do with the environment as well.
Well,
which is
there's
the
a lot that's
scary thought.
environmental,
Yeah.
the sound of the parent's
For
voice,
sure.
things like that.
The heartbeat.
So the full vision that's laid out in this YouTube video
One giant heart.
is that you would have a 360-degree camera inside, so you could see what the child is seeing. There'd be speakers, so you can sing to your child, you can speak to your child. It would all be on an app. You would have an app on your phone that would allow you direct contact with your child. You'd be speaking to it. You could choose the music it listens to. And, of course, the really important part, you can start dealing with genetic diseases.
Yeah.
You can eliminate
Okay.
Or
those.
engineering, let's call it.
Yeah, so prematurity becomes a non-issue. There are no complications in the birth process. Hereditary diseases can be eliminated as you go along. And of course, now we get into the tricky part, which is now we're talking designer babies.
Yeah, well, this is
And
exactly.
even in this particular video, there's the suggestion of a premium package where when you purchase that, you can choose the color of the eyes, the height, the intelligence, all of these things. So yeah, I see the look on your face. I'm not sure everyone can see it, but the point is we're getting into this really tricky future, and everything in this video is based on technology that currently exists.
It's
So
just how you
could be
connect
put
it.
together, which means someone will put it together.
Someone already has, I think.
Quite possibly. So your danger is you create a separate species within the human race, which is Homo superior, which would be the rich people, which would permanently entrench inequality. So I'm hoping that this gets seen. It's a concept video. It's meant to provoke this kind of discussion. I hope it becomes a trigger point to go, we need to deal with inequality.
Well, it's like
before it
AI
becomes
is forcing us
baked
to
in.
do it as well now. Before we hand over our ability to think to someone else, we've got to have it kind of shored down ourselves. I want to say that I was thinking about all the negative repercussions for our planet and our species, but what I've been doing for the last 5 minutes is designing my baby in my head, what I'd like to. What sport would you go for, do you think?
Obviously football, but I mean, I want my baby to be short like me. It's fine, okay? It's organic. But I think it's been a fantastic chat with you. Thank you so much, Roy. It's been really incredible, and it feels like take the red pill or the blue pill. Well, let's just take a smoothie. Let's go for that.